Hi, welcome back. In this episode, we're going to clean our anti-lock brake sensor on a 03 GMC Sierra to hopefully fix our anti-lock brake issue. Don't forget to subscribe, click the notification button, and also check me out on Instagram at Clara Garage. Let's get started. Alright, so I've already got the wheel off, and I've got the rotor off as well as the caliper to get the rotor off. You might be able to do this without taking the rotor and everything off, but it's a lot more difficult, and then you can't really see anything on camera. So I pulled it off so we'll be able to see. So we are on the driver's side, and right down here, that's our anti-lock brake sensor. Here's the cable up here running up, and it goes over and in, but there's the connector right over here. So there's our sensor. I've already got it loose. So we'll get this out, and it pulls out. It was a little bit stuck in there, so I had to kind of clean up around it and kind of get it to loosen up with the screwdriver. So you may have the same issue. Alright, so we take this out. And then we jiggle the sensor, pulling out, and then kind of around there. And this is our anti-lock brake sensor. And there is 2 shims on this one. I had this out about 5.5 years ago for the same issue. So you put your foot on the brake, you're coming up to a stoplight or stop sign, road's dry, and the last couple of feet the anti-locks kick on, and so when the anti-locks kick on, you feel it and the truck doesn't stop as good. If you want to know which side is giving you issue, the vehicle will pull either to the left or the right, and whichever side the vehicle pulls to, that's the good side. The other side is the bad side. So you're driving along, you hit the brakes, you're coming to a stop, and the anti-lock kicks on when they shouldn't kick on. If you let go of the wheel, and if it pulls to the left, that means that your left sensor is working properly, and it's your right sensor that's giving you the issue. And the reason the vehicle pulls towards the good side is because it's still applying brake pressure, and the other side, the anti-lock, is telling it that it's locked up even though it's not locked up, and that makes the brake release, causing less drag and making the steering wheel turn one way or the other. So in my case, it's the driver's side that's giving me trouble because it pulls to the right side, so it's the left sensor. So I had the exact same issue a few years ago, well, 5.5 years ago, and basically all you got to do is clean up the sensor and then remove some shims if you're able to. So I've already pulled some shims out of here, so I'm going to pull both shims out, and then I'm going to see if I have enough clearance. So you pull it out, and then you take the shims off, and then you put it back in, tighten it back down, and you spin the hub. And if it makes contact, you got to add another shim in. So I'm hoping I can eliminate one or both of the shims and resolve my issue. Otherwise, I may have to get a new sensor if the sensor's getting weak, or the bearing could be an issue too. But there's no play or anything in this bearing, and the bearings are expensive, so that's kind of your last so that's kind of your last thing to try, unless you have reason to believe that's actually your issue. But if you're just trying to do it quickly and not spend a lot of money, this is the first thing that you check. I got both sensors, or I got both shims off, and the shims almost look like a pop tab if you were to look at them. So the smaller holes where your bolt goes through, and the bigger holes where the sensor part goes through. Now you shove it back in, and before I even tighten it down, I can tell that I'm making contact with the bearing assembly. So I know for sure, even without tightening it down, I need to have at least one shim in there. Both of these shims are the same thickness. So now we're going to try with just one shim. And that feels good. I don't feel like I'm making any contact, so I'll put my bolt back in. And I am good. So I'm not making any contact, so this is hopefully going to solve my issue. I'm going to put a little bit of Never Seas on here before I put it in again, just to hopefully have no issues getting it out in the future again. So we got some Never Seas on the bolt. Now we're putting it back in. And once we get it back in, we do one final check, make sure it's not hitting, go all the way around a few times, go the other way. But as you can see, when I had that one other shim out, it was pretty obvious it was hitting. It stopped it without really any movement at all. So we are pretty good with that. So if you're having this issue, this might save you a big bill at the garage, and even might save you having to buy some parts with just an hour worth of your time. And while you're into this, you might be able to get it out without removing the rotor and everything. But it's never a bad idea to remove all that stuff anyways. It's probably due for a lube job on the brakes and everything. So if you're this close to it, you might as well pull all that stuff and lubricate your brakes up as well, your sliders and everything, so you don't have a pad that sticks and you have to replace your pads prematurely or something. So I hope you found this helpful. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification button, and check me out on Instagram at Clara Garage. Have a great night.